Hey YouTube, Revolution Mouse here with a deck tech, kind of an update, kind of a new deck. A while back I did a Blue-Red Miracle deck tech that got a lot of views, as did a couple of my other deck techs. I don't know why. I don't know if people just like them. I don't know if people just happen to stumble upon them just by searching it, but it's kind of cool, it's kind of cool knowing that people got to see what I think. But yeah, this deck is an American, I call it American Wrath just because it sounds cool, but it's kind of an American Miracle Delver deck. It's kind of a hybrid Blue-White Delver and the Blue-Red Miracle deck that I did. But this one, sorry, I'm a little sick, but it's, I don't know why, but, sorry, I have a, sorry about that. I don't know why, but I just really like this one. The mana base is consistent, surprisingly, for a 3-color deck that doesn't really have that many duels. And it's just, I don't know, it works, and there's a lot of really cool synergies in the deck that I'll go over. But, sorry, let's start off with the mana base. I'm doing this Adjumant Job style because I like his deck techs the way they are, but we have a playset of Seachrome Coast, which is a way to get the white that we need. This deck's mainly blue, but it's a way to get the white that we need and get a blue source on turn 1, which is pretty important. Next we have Sulphur Falls. This is another playset, just because it's important to have that red mana, and even though it doesn't come into play tapped, or it comes into play tapped unless you have a, one of the two, oftentimes you'll have one of the two, which you'll see why. And then I'm running 2 Glacial Fortresses just because there's less plains than mountains, so that's why I like that more. I did a lot of tinkering with the mana base for this deck, and I got it just the way I want it. I'm running 6 islands, which this is the one downfall of this deck is that it only has 10 turn 1 blue sources, which can be problematic, but most of the time it's okay, because that means there's 1 in 6 cards in the deck have, turn 1 mana opportunity, so, that means that it's probable that you're going to have a turn 1 blue source in your hand. And then we have 3 mountains, giving us some more red, which red is pretty important in this deck. And then just 1 plains, and then I have 2 Evolving Wilds. So this way I have the 4 red sources right there, 3 right there, and then 2 Evolving Wilds, making it 9. And then I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 more Evolving Wilds. So I have 9 of each color, the white and the red, for mana. So that's the mana base for the deck. I really like the mana base. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of this deck, actually. But yeah, anyways, let's go on to the creatures. Obviously, we have Delver. It's just amazing, especially in this deck, because I have so many ways to flip it. We have 1 Grim Lavamancer, just because it deals with a lot of those creatures that are a problem. Mono green, or any infect, is pretty popular in my meta, including myself. I run it a lot. But yeah, it deals with birds, it deals with, well, birds aren't that problematic when I use that, but it deals with Thalia, it deals with, so many things. And then it also deals with a couple of points of damage that you need. Anyways, we have playset of Snapcaster Mage, pretty general. I can't play Delver without it, and it's super necessary for this deck. And the other card, the new addition that I really like, is Augur of Bolas. I'm running it as a 3 of. It's really, really awesome with Restoration Angel. And I'll go over a little synergy that I did in later. But yeah, so Restoration Angel, I couldn't help splashing white for Restoration Angel due to good sideboard cards that you can have, and then also the synergies with those 2 cards. Those 2 cards, not this card over here, not this one. Just kidding, but seriously, I couldn't resist. And then for our last creature, we have Talrand. Talrand is just, it's so powerful in the late game, it's ridiculous. Like, with a couple instants and sorceries, it just gets insane, like, really, really fast. And I just really like Talrand a lot. And then for the last I should say, permanent card, is Sword of Feast and Famine. I run this over Sword of War and Peace because the green decks are the main problem for this deck. The Dungrove deck is a problem. Mono Green Infect isn't as big of a problem. Like, it's probably about a 55-45 or a 60-40 matchup in our favor. But the Mono Green Dungrove deck is just a pain in the butt to deal with for this deck. Vapor Snag isn't as effective, things like that. So that is the last of the permanents in this deck. There's only one non-creature, I should say artifact or enchantment. Next we have the instants and sorceries. So running Ponder, the full playset. It's good, especially in this deck with the miracles. It just works so good. Excuse me, and it flips Delver. Like, I love turn 1 Ponder, turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Ponder, and then a flip with, a bonfire or something like that. Like, you'll see though. And then we have playset of Vapor Snag. It really helps with some of the faster decks, like the even though it isn't as effective in the Dungrove matchup, this is a really effective card against the Mono Green Infect or any Infect, just because they try and pump it up and then I Vapor Snag. Usually they catch on after a while, but it still scares them into not, overcommitting. So the Vapor Snag is really effective in the meta right now, especially in my meta. People use Wolfir Silverheart and things like that. And then next we have 2 Thought Scour. Thought Scour, I love it with Ponder. Like, if there's one really good card, like turn 5 you Ponder and you already have 4 lands, and there's one, Restoration Angel that you really want, and there's 2 lands, then you can take the Resto and then Thought Scour away the 2 lands. It's just really, really cool. And it helps get any miracle cards. Like, if you Ponder and you see one of the miracle cards, and then one of the miracle cards, and then a couple of other cards, you can Thought Scour away the miracle card, and then you can hopefully Noxious Survival it later. These 2 cards right here are Mana Leak. My friend's borrowing my playset. He just borrowed it. So those are 2 Mana Leaks. I don't like to run the full playset in this deck because sorry, it's not as important. Anyway, here's the miracle portion. We have 2 bonfires. I have the foil one, but anyway, 2 bonfires. I guess I should probably scoot these over. 3 Thunderous Wrath, just because you don't really want this opening hand. And then 3 Noxious Survival. So it's a smaller miracle portion than the other deck, but it also makes it a lot less vulnerable to things like Surgical Extraction, any hate like that. So yeah, that's the purpose for that, and I really, really like that. So here's something cool that I've done with the deck, that I actually did in FNM. It was just awesome. I had an Augur of Bolus out. He had, gosh, I'm trying to remember the exact situation, but it was just awesome. What was it? Oh yeah, okay. He just swung in for almost the win, but I realized the combo that I could do that could stop him from winning, because he was at like 4 life, and I had a Restoration Angel in my hand, and an Augur of Bolus out in the field, and I Restoration Angeled my Augur of Bolus, and here's what I did. Okay, a Noxious Revivaled, putting, what was it? Okay, yeah, I know. Here's what I did. He swung in. I just remembered. Sorry, it was a long time ago. It was like 3 weeks ago. But he swung in with a Ink Moth, which would have killed me. I had a Vapor Snag in the grave. I had a Restoration Angel in my hand, and I can't remember why, but he knew that. So I Restoration Angel my Augur of Bolus. First, I keep doing this. I Noxious Revivaled my Vapor Snag, putting it on the top of the deck. And then I Augur of Bolus to take the Vapor Snag and put it in my hand, and then I Vapor Snag his Inkmoth Nexus, and it was beautiful. He kind of got mad, but he was pretty surprised, and he was cool about it because I don't know, he was a cool guy. But anyway, sorry, that was quite the rant, and it was pretty hard to get that story off, but I thought it was a really cool play. And yeah, I got to Vapor Snag his Inkmoth. But anyway, here's my sideboard. It's just for my meta, and I'll go over, things like the things that are important. But Celestial Purge, just a one of, because zombies isn't that big in my meta, but it does kind of, it does hurt this deck quite a bit, because again, Vapor Snag isn't that good against it. And it's a faster deck, but it's also kind of a mid-range deck. But yeah, I can kind of beat down this deck quite a bit. So yeah, I have one Celestial Purge just because it isn't that common in my meta. And then I have one Oblivion Ring for really anything, Wild Defiance, Planeswalkers, really anything. It comes in quite a bit. And then we have one Mental Misstep, which comes in a lot, just because, again, the Infect is big. Delver is decent in my meta. And then we have two Phantasmal Image. These come in quite a bit too against any deck. Running anything that's worth copying. I just side them in sometimes if I need another Restoration Angel. Again, it doesn't have Flash, but it can, bounce my Snapcaster, or I can copy a Snapcaster, copy an Augur of Bolas. So Phantasmal Image is really good in this deck, but I don't want to run it main board because that'd be a little bit too many creatures, in my opinion. We have one Surgical Extraction just for kind of catch-all situations. I just like to run at least one Surgical. And then we have one Smelt for swords, for Lash Wraith in the Infects deck. Sorry, for a lot of things. And then Zealous Conscripts because Rug Wolf Run just got pretty big in my meta. So yeah, just the one Z Conscripts is pretty good. And then we have the one Sword of War and Peace in our sideboard. It comes in against things like humans, some of the faster decks. This way I can just kind of finish it off. And it isn't as good main board because our deck isn't really centered around dealing the damage with creatures. It can, but it's usually not really the main way we win. And then here's the other two Mana Leaks. Here's what I do with sideboarding, and this is another thing that I really like about the deck, is the sideboard is really cool, and it's really effective. If they see the combo of Thunderous Wrath and the Noxious Revival and Snapcaster, I don't ever side out the Snapcasters, but I always side out the Noxious Revivals and Thunderous Wraths if they see the combo. So I have the two Mana Leaks and then two Pillar of Flames that I side in for 4 of them. And then if they don't see that combo, I side in another Noxious Revival and then the 4th of each, Thunderous Wrath and the Noxious Revival. That way it's more effective because they're not expecting it, and it's more effective against their sideboarding tactics because they're probably setting things in like Surgical Extraction, Tormod's Crypt, Nihil Spellbomb, things like that. So if they see it, and I'll just set in 4 of these, and then since there's 3 Noxious and 3 Thunderous Wraths, I set in, 1 of these, or 2 of these. What is that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9? And there's always something that I can set in. I can set in a Mental Misstep against almost every deck, Phantasmal Image against almost every deck, and if they're playing something just absolutely crazy where I can't set any of these in, I can just set in the 2 Phantasmal Image because they're good with my deck anyway. So yeah, that's my sideboard, and that's the sideboarding tactics for this deck. I really, really like this deck, and I'm so glad that I redid the Blue-White Miracle deck, sorry, the Blue-Red Miracle deck, and I'd have to say I like this version more, even though it's closer to the Blue-White Delver list that I would like, because I like to be original, I like to mix it up, and not to play the best deck. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think about the deck. Leave your comments below. Things that I should consider for sideboarding. Anything like that, just let me know. And I'd appreciate any support, any subscriptions, any likes, favorites, anything like that. I don't want to ask for them. It's kind of cliche and cheesy, but yeah, I'm going to ask for them. Not really, it's fine if you don't. I don't really care that much. But I'm kind of getting off topic here. Thank you for watching.